Good afternoon, podcast community, my community of givers and safe people. Well, you're on the Special Needs Podcast, and I'm Podcast Pete, and we want to bring a message to you today. We want you to think about who you know in the special needs community that needs light shined on their community and what they're doing. Do you have a sponsor that wants to take podcasting the high performance podcasting mastery way? And what does that mean? That means we're going to coach you the high performance model, which is Brendan Bouchard's certified high performance coaching. I currently am being coached, and I'm currently a certified high performance coach. Now, what does that mean to you? We're going to take away your pain of all the things you have to do to get your podcast successful. No editing, no details. You just show up with your expertise. Show up with what you have to share with the world. We do the rest. Yes, everything. You just show up. Designated time every week. You can have guests on there. You can really talk in an educational way about your special needs community. So if you have somebody and you're thinking, well, do I hire somebody or do I take one of our donors, sponsors who want to put value-added dollars behind a podcast, be introduced to 250 plus podcast people that are in our community and growing every day. What's going to happen in a year? 2, 3, holy mackerel. Only God knows that. But here we have a very scalable model. We have a team in the Philippines, a team in Brazil. We do everything for you. Took 18 months to build. 15 hours a day, 6.5 days a week. Crazy? Yep, it is. But it's built. And if you haven't heard the podcasting, Crystal Duke shared it with it last week. Bamboo. How does it work? It takes 10 years for that to break ground. But when it breaks ground, 10 years later, you can grow up to 3 feet a day. Let me repeat that. 10 years to break ground and then 3 feet a day. That's insane. What does that tell you? Build the foundation and then the other floors go up. Look at a skyscraper. You hardly can take so much time to build that foundation. Then all of a sudden it's like goes up so quick because you have to have a solid foundation. And that's what we built for you. A foundation of VAs, graphics people, editors, people that can support you, community of givers, a collaborative book that's coming out, your story in the book. Did you know that the average person will hear 60,000 marketing messages a day? Put that in the context of how busy our brains are getting with information. We're spending 4 hours on TV a day, a couple hours scrolling social media. When you start putting those time into something that's not producing for you, not giving you the joy of what you're here on this earth to do, you wonder why you don't have enough time in the day. I guarantee you, Elon Musk, Oprah, any of the top performers, they don't watch TV 4 hours a day. They may be on TV 4 hours a day, but they don't watch it. And I heard Oprah's schedule through a good book, and I'm going to share it with you. Buy Back Your Time. Probably the best book of understanding the difference between employee, entrepreneur, and empire builder. And you have to think differently when you're building an empire, because You only have 24 hours. Everybody only gets 24 hours. That's the common thing with everybody. Jeff Bezos, he sleeps 8 hours a day, and he was quoted as saying, so I can make one good decision a day, not 50, one. So he's constantly pouring in to developing that. Now I don't even think he's involved, maybe as a advisor on the outside, but growing the company. That's the kind of mindset he had. The reason I say that is when you buy back your time, and the first bit of time that you buy back is your executive assistant. How many emails are you checking? How many return emails? How many tasks are you jumping back and forth? The reason I tell you this is you got to know how the mind works. The mind works on simplicity and focus, batching, and there's a lot of other things. But the first thing you need to do as an entrepreneur and as a charity, as a group, as somebody that wants to build, you have to figure out to outsource that executive assistant. So we have a program that can help take 10 hours of those off your plate a week. 10 hours. What could you do if you weren't checking email, if you weren't responding, if you weren't jumping back and forth with all the different tasks? Multitasking doesn't work. Read Dave Crenshaw's book, The Myth of Multitasking. Doesn't work. The brain's not set up for that. Our brains are not set up for all the information that's coming in. We've had this brain for thousands of years. I mean, the concept, but we haven't had information loading in. Everybody's trying to keep up with information. You got to think, and you got to spend time thinking. That's why Oprah only works 2 hours a day. 2 hours. And she's worth a couple billion, 3 billion, I heard. 2 hours. But those 2 hours, holy mackerel. Those are things that it's basically on a golf term. All of it's teed up for her. She just has to make the final decision. And that's what you want to do in this book. It's called 131. So what you're doing is letting people solve the problems. Don't put the monkey on your back. Let people be empowered to make decisions, because that's the only way you buy back your time. So let me get back to Special Needs Podcast. This podcast, put this in the hands of people you know that need to have a way to get through the clutter. You know how many nonprofits there are out there? Ask Glenda Hicks. She does it Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Thousands. Everybody thinks their nonprofit is the most important, which it is to them. But to the donors, they have many choices. So you have to find a way to communicate your story better in the clutter of information. So I'm finished. Please share this with people you know that can benefit from storytelling and doing it in an effective way to get this information, the Special Needs Podcast, out with stories. That's what people remember. You'll always remember stories, but you won't remember facts. So thank you so much. I'm Pete Kane, and let me give you a number here. You can go to podcasterpetekane.com or call me direct, 404-428-3006. If you know of somebody that wants to get through the clutter, tell stories, leverage their time, be able to effectively get those stories into the right people that will know, like, and trust what you're doing out there. We have a special heart for our special needs people. And I want you to help me get it to people, the right people. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to spend a few minutes with you. And let me see. Oh, yes. Oh, I love it when I have a few people. Thanks, Ronaldo. He's virtual assistant extraordinaire. He's who I will make sure that you can get 10 hours of your time back. Think 10 hours, take it off your plate. You do higher leverage activities, which will help you move the dial with revenue. And if you don't do that, you'll flatline or you won't be in business. Thank you so much. Pete Kane here. Appreciate you.